In this lesson, we'll walk through the process of credentialing. As this process has a lot of details, please take advantage of the lesson-specific job aids to use as handy references. After you've reviewed this lesson, you should be able to describe the purpose of CAQH credentialing, explain how to use a provider information sheet, list the key point you'll need when you talk to an insurer's credentialing department, and explain how to attest your CAQH application. Most credentialing starts with CAQH, or the Council for Affordable Quality Health Care. This nonprofit organization collects, stores, and monitors information that verifies that medical providers have valid medical credentials. CAQH collects and stores the credentialing data and shares the files with insurance companies. Medicare, Medi-Cal, and many private health insurance companies use CAQH. The database is secure and takes appropriate measures to ensure confidentiality. You can find CAQH website information on the downloadable job aid CAQH Credentialing Web Reference. You'll need to collect specific types of information from each MD, physician's assistant, and nurse practitioner. Refer to the job aid on CAQH required documents for a list of which providers require credentialing and what information you'll need. The required documents contain a lot of personal information. Some clinicians may even prefer to maintain their own credentialing file, but don't always have the time to complete the work. As the credentialing specialist, you should be prepared to reassure a clinician who needs help by specifying how and where confidential information will be stored in a secure location. Using the information you collect from each of your clinic's practitioners, use a template form like this one to summarize the information in one place. You can refer to the downloadable job aid provider information sheet for a sample copy. Having this information ready will help you save time as you move to the next step, contacting an insurance company. In order to get CAQH credentialing, an insurance company must be willing to accept your clinic. You just need one insurer to agree. Now we'll walk through how to call an insurer to get the results you want. For your convenience, the steps will be repeated on the downloadable job aid on CAQH credentialing, calling the insurer. Your call can be to any private insurance company that accepts the CAQH process. These are your basic steps. Call their office and ask for the credentialing department. Ask if their company would be willing to grant you a login number to complete CAQH credentialing for your clinic's physicians. Not all insurers will be motivated to help you get through CAQH. Tell them you have a provider information sheet ready to send. It may also help if you explain that it's your clinic's intention to become a preferred provider with their plan. If you're successful in your request, the insurer will ask you to submit your completed provider information sheet. This is the sample form we showed earlier. Sometimes an insurance company can be unresponsive. Be sure to follow up if you don't get a decision. You can do this by documenting who you speak with and the date each time you call. Finally, if they reject your request or you're not progressing, start over with a different insurance company. Once you get just one insurer to grant an initial login ID number, you can begin your CAQH credentialing process. Now that an insurance company has accepted your clinic and received your CAQH information sheet, they'll send you your login number. You can refer to the downloadable job aid on the CAQH login and online application to reference the CAQH website and how to walk through it. Start by clicking the link that says Logging In for the first time. You'll be asked to create a username and password. After this, the CAQH site will automatically generate a unique login number for each clinician on the screen. After logging into the CAQH site, you're ready to complete the CAQH credentialing application. You may want to refer to a printout of the job aid on CAQH required documents. You'll need to have specific information ready so you can enter it into the CAQH database. Remember, when you're ready to start, the job aid on the CAQH login and online application is available to help you. First, log in with your username and password. Then select the registration link. After this, follow the instructions to enter the requested CAQH credentialing information. There are several pages to go through. If something doesn't apply to a specific practitioner, you can leave it blank. Remember to budget 2 hours to complete your initial application for the first practitioner on your list. You may get faster as you become more familiar with the site. After the initial application is complete, you'll need to do something called attesting. This means you verify or attest that your application is accurate. To accomplish attesting, you'll go through a series of pages and questions on the website. Detailed information is provided on the downloadable job aid, A Guide to CAQH Attesting. Towards the end of the process, you'll be directed to an online attestation page and a form you can print out. Print the attestation and have the appropriate person sign it. You'll also need to print out the unique fax cover sheet from the CAQH website. You must use the provider-specific cover sheet to fax the attestation and required documents. A new fax cover sheet will be generated for each provider and every time you renew your attestation in later months. CAQH will let you know if your application is complete by emailing you on the status of your application.
Hi, this is Timmy Granados, Billing Coordinator, with some tips to let you know what happens at this point. First, your application will only be accepted as complete when all required documentation has been submitted and your application is error-free. Fortunately, you can save your work as you go, so if you're missing something, you can come back and finish it later without having to start over. You'll also need to create a system for regular updates. That's because most providers have multiple licenses and certifications with different expiration dates. You should count on making updates to the CAQH file about every 3 months. The exact interval will vary by provider depending on when their license and other certifications expire. As credentialing specialist, you should receive an email from CAQH when any of your clinic providers needs their information updated. Fortunately, the routine updates, like documenting that an expired medical license has been renewed, should only take a few minutes each time. You'll just click through all the pages and make any revisions needed and attest to the changes.
While CAQH credentialing is very common, it's not universal. Some private insurance companies use their own in-house credentialing instead. If you encounter this with an insurer your department wants to contract with, you'll need to work with the company's credentialing department to provide the same kind of information that CAQH requires. Insurers who use their own credentialing will send you a credentialing packet with their own forms. Just follow their instructions and send back the completed forms along with the requested documents to their credentialing department. One difference from the CAQH process is that no login number is required. Often a company credentialer will contact you for additional information or clarification via email or phone. The insurer should notify you by mail or email to let you know if your application is complete. Expect to wait about 60 to 90 days. If you haven't heard back about your in-house credentialing paperwork after 90 days, be sure to follow up with the insurer's credentialing department. Now, please follow the instructions to take the quiz for this lesson. It will look familiar. It's the same one you took before viewing the lesson. This time you'll be able to see the correct answers as you respond to demonstrate what you've learned. After you've completed the quiz, you may go back at your own pace to view subsequent lessons at your convenience. The lessons are ordered so you'll build your knowledge of each part of the billing process that relates to your role. When you finish all the lessons, you'll be able to print out a certificate of completion to reward your efforts. Thanks for your attention. Please continue on to the quiz.